Do you have a health message and you want to get your message to the masses, but when it comes to the marketing side, it kind of feels uncomfortable or it seems like there's a steep learning curve, but you have a sense of urgency that you know the message you bear needs to go out to people, that you are called to serve, but it's kind of challenging or daunting when you think about all the marketing skills and the learning curve and the tools and everything that goes into the marketing side. Maybe you, like me for several years, was focused more on learning health and speaking or sharing or maybe writing books or creating different tools to help people, but it's kind of harder to ensure that people are buying the books or that they are attending your seminars or showing up to your trainings, and you know deep inside that it's marketing that's going to help you to get further and to get your message out to those you're called to serve, but it seems overwhelming. Today I want to share with you how to bypass your marketing learning curve so you could experience rapid growth. These are the same skills and the same lessons I learned that helped me to make $10,000 a month in my early 20s. And if you are interested in learning how to fast track this path to bypass the learning curve and to develop those marketing results faster, then I'm going to be sharing with you some secrets that I've found are tremendously helpful in really doing that. And it requires basically a shift of mind, because one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make and health-focused educators take is that there's a belief that time is money, and time is money that money is more valuable than time. It's like, why would I pay someone to do something when I could just go YouTube it or Google it, or I can go find out how to do it myself? This DIY kind of mentality. And what I realize is that it's actually the flip side, that your time is infinitely more valuable than your money. And what we realize, I'll give you an example. So let's say that I have here a check for you. I've got a check that for your financial freedom, it has your name on it. It's a blank check, and you could write whatever amount that you want, however much you would need to reach your financial freedom, and you know that the check would clear. It'd be in your bank account, and you'd be good to go for the rest of your, for forever. Now, how many of you would be interested in taking me up on that? Like, put freedom in the chat if you would be down to accept a blank check that has your financial freedom to it. But there's only one condition. If you accept it, you have to give up your life right now. Okay? Now who's interested in that, right? Put no in the chat if you're not interested. Now, this is an illustration. It shows you that. Why is that? Because your time, which is what your life is made out of, is infinitely more valuable than your money. And once you realize that your time is more valuable than your money, then you realize that all of these things that we're trying to do in order to save a quick buck and spend so much of our time that is lost can never be gathered again. I could make money, I could spend money and make it back, but time lost is never gathered again. And time is the stuff that life is made out of. How we use our time is how we use our life. How we waste our time is how we waste our life. And what I realized is I found that successful entrepreneurs are more willing to be generous with their money, imparting from their money, and less generous with their time, in the sense that they guarded their time and they are very generous with their money to buy back their time. Whereas unsuccessful entrepreneurs who are really struggling to reach the people and build a business that's substantial, they are more generous with their time, using it in stuff that has little to no returns, and they're way more guarded with their money. And this flip in me helped me to see, like, this is one of the things that helped me to see something differently, because the mentors I was around, they're always like, why would you pay $80 to have, like, if they had a broken screen, they're like, why would you pay $80 to have someone fix your phone when I could just go to YouTube and then twiddle with it and spend 10 hours trying to fix it myself? And then it's like getting happy that you saved a few bucks, but really working below minimum wage when we're doing stuff like that, that's out of our assignments. And where I started to surround myself with health educators and entrepreneurs who are successful, they're just like, why would we go off and do this myself when we could just cut a check, pay someone who's professional, who's going to do it right the first time, and they are, it's not cost effective to do all this stuff ourselves. We could make more money in our business doing things that only we can do than we would just trying to do something that someone else is clearly better at and has more experience in. And this shift was really a challenge for me at first, but I realized this is the mentality that will help us to accelerate our time. If time is the issue, then we have to learn how to prioritize our time in a way that we can get more results in less time. Does that make sense? So how many of you want to get more results, faster results with your marketing in less time? Put a yes in the chat if that's you. Now, what I realize is Proverbs 15:22 shows us that this is a key to not being disappointed in life. It says, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in a multitude of counselors they are established. So the scripture here is saying, King Solomon, who is the wisest and wealthiest man in human history, do you think he knows a thing or two about marketing or about getting a message out to the masses or to be able to move the multitudes? Absolutely. And he was showing that if you want to avoid disappointment in life, maybe some of you are listening, you're a little disappointed with your marketing efforts, you're disappointed with your business results, or maybe you're doing good and you would like to do better, and you're not quite where you'd like to be yet. What King Solomon is saying is that the way to avoid the disappointments is getting counsel, getting mentorship, getting advisors who are able to help you with speeding up that process. And what I realize is our influences, the people that we surround ourselves with, largely impacts the results that we have. Jim Rohn once said, you are an average of the top 5 voices that you spend the most time with. And when you see, the scripture says in Proverbs 13:20 that he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed. And when I look at like wise and foolish, it's like, what are the skills that you want to develop? If you want to be wise in marketing, if you want to be wise in business, then Solomon says to surround yourself with wise marketers and wise entrepreneurs. When you are surrounding yourself with them, they start to influence you. But if you are taking business advice from people who do not have the business results you're looking for, then their advice starts to bleed off on you as well. So the difference between where you are and where you want to be is the key. Is a mentor is able to help you to bridge that gap, because a mentor has been where you want to be and can help you to get there a lot faster than it would take you to try to do it yourself. See, there's 2 ways to learn. And the first way that you can learn is either you can learn from your own mistakes or you can learn from the mistakes of others. Learning from your mistakes is going to cost you time, but learning from the mistakes of others will often cost you money. But we see that time is infinitely more valuable than your money. And in fact, Job 28:18, it says that the price of wisdom is above rubies. So really, the scriptures are showing like, what is wisdom? Wisdom in the Bible is our modern day for the word skill. And it is skills. There are high-income skills that produce high-income results. And a high-income skill is better than a high-income job. Because we see like with COVID and we see with these mass layoffs taking place right now, that a high-income job can come and go, but an economy can crash and you lose your job. But if you have a high-income skill, like marketing is a high-income skill, public speaking is a high-income skill, learning email marketing is a high-income skill, or selling from stage is a high-income skill, sales funnels is a high-income skill. There's marketing is the key that is able to create cash flow for businesses. And when you learn the high-income skills, then those skills will carry with you. No government can take your skills away. No divorce can take your skills away. No economic downturn can take away your high-income skills. When you invest in yourself, when you invest in the skills that produce the results you're looking for impacting people and being able to harness people's attention, stop them from scrolling, to be able to listen and watch and view, and to hear your life-saving message. These are the skills that help to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And Job said that the price of these skills, of this wisdom, is far above rubies. So what I realize is every time that I have an opportunity to either save time by doing it myself, or save time by cutting a check and learning from the mistakes of my mentors, I would much rather cut a check so I could cut the line. And what is a line? The line is your learning curve. Because would you rather learn from all your own mistakes? That's so expensive. Or would you rather learn from the mistakes of someone who's already put hundreds of thousands of dollars in their investment, already put thousands of hours of their time trying to figure it out, have already tested a wide variety of different ways and methods, and then found what works best and found a system that works and is able to get consistent results? Would you rather try to figure it all out your own, or invest in someone who is able to, basically, they've been where you want to go, they're further along the path than you are, so in a sense, they know what your future holds. They know the steps to take, they know the pitfalls to avoid, they know how to go where you desire to be, because they're there. They've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and they can help you to avoid a lot of the pitfalls along the way. So for me, I'm like, it just makes so much sense. We can download decades into days simply by cutting a check and investing in a marketing consultant, a marketing mentor, someone who's able to help advise us in that regard. And what I realize is it's the professionals that know that they need a mentor. It's the amateurs that think that they don't need a mentor. Because if you look throughout history, every great master had a mentor. Every great champion had a coach. Every great influencer had an instructor. Every great author had an advisor. Every great teacher had a tutor. And every great king had a counselor. So when we realize that if we want to have a great business, if we want to have a great income, if we want to have a great impact, if we want to have make a great difference with your health message, then it's important to get mentorship. I know this is why I started to invest in mentors early on. One of the first times I was with a multimillionaire who we were doing this health campaign in Washington, D.C. We were hosting several events, and we were for the congressmen and in the congressional offices, and we were interacting with them, and I realized that this individual had hundreds of thousands of dollars in their operations for doing what they're doing. And I'm like, what's going on? Why is it that you have all of these resources, and most of the health educators that I know, a lot of them, they're broke? Like, what's the difference? And he explained to me, he drove me in his car, and we went over, the director took me to his house where he grew up, and it was on Capitol Hill. And I was like, oh. And then we went down the street, and he showed me a country club that his parents were a part of, and he said that it cost $250,000 to be a part of this country club. I was like, $250,000? Why would anyone spend that much just to be a part of a country club for a year? And he told me, he said, wealthy people value relationships more than money, because it's not just about the country club, but it is the opportunities that you get by being in association and building relationships with people of influence. And he was saying that, sure, it's $250,000, but when you interact with someone who's constantly bombarded by the news or by people always asking for favors, when you get to see them, they kind of like let their hair down, and they're more calm, and they're easier to approach, and you're interacting with them, and that relationship could lend into a $5 million deal. And back then it was like hard for me to fathom, and I was starting to dawn the understanding, and he was telling me that in the Bible there are biblical financial principles. When you follow those biblical financial principles, then finances are the results. And he was showing me that there are marketing principles, and when you understand the marketing principles, then you get marketing results. And that was really eye-opening for me. At the time, it was hard to imagine. But since then, I've been in a mastermind where people invest $155,000 to be a part of. And I began to see the relationships that are formed. I've seen firsthand relationships of people who met in the masterminds have went on to have $5 million deals or $9 million deals and six-figure deals. And I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. And I realized that good business mentorship, like business mentorship is not an expense. It's an investment. But business mentorship becomes an expense to those who fail to invest in it. And what that looks like is a lot of times we think like, well, it's like I can't afford, I need to maybe get more customers, or I need to get further along, or I need to see more results before I invest. But what I find is that it's not really until where we invest that we'll start to see the results, because it's through the mentorships, through that the marketing mind, learning how to think like a marketer, think like an entrepreneur, that we start to see things differently. And the same thoughts that got us here is not going to get us there. So in order to upgrade our life, we need to upgrade our thinking. And to upgrade our thinking, a lot of times it requires an outside perspective to help us to see things differently than how we were seeing them before. And what I realize is that there are 5 steps to achieve anything. And that's with marketing, that's with team. These are the same 5 steps I've used to develop a team of 7 people, the same 5 steps I've used to make $10,000 a month in my early 20s, and to be able to learn, when I wanted to learn how to sell health products from stage, these are the steps that I took. When I wanted to learn how to create content, how to get comfortable with the process of creating content, these are the steps that I learned. These same 5 steps help you with regardless of what you're doing. And number 1, you want to get extremely clear on exactly what you want. Get clear on that. What is it that you desire? Without a vision, the people perish. And number 2, you want to find someone who has the results that you want. Number 3, pay them whatever they charge to find out what they did. Every time that I invest in mentorship, I know that I'm buying my time back at a discount. And because I'm investing in their mistakes and investing in their years of experience. So number 3, pay them whatever they charge to find out what they did. And number 4, do what they did. Do exactly what they did. Because a good mentor is going to give you counterintuitive advice. How do I know that? Because if it already made sense, you'd already be doing it, right? So do exactly what they did. And number 5 is continue until you have the results that you want. Following these 5 steps have allowed me to be able to, when I look back at like almost everything in my life that I am grateful for, that I'm glad to have, the people in my life, the equipment that I have, the team that I have, the systems that I have that are able to produce rinse and repeat results, that are able to automate the delivery of my solutions to people, to automate my clients coming in, where people are reaching out to me, asking how they could work with me and willing to pay. These things in my life is because I followed these 5 steps. I got clear on what I wanted. I found someone who had the result that I wanted. I paid them whatever they charge, be it $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, whatever it was that they charged. I cut the check so I could cut the line. And I'm telling you, I don't believe in many shortcuts to success. I don't believe in very many real shortcuts. But if there was one shortcut that could be the closest thing to a shortcut, it would be having a mentor. Having a mentor that knows where you want to go. And because one of the greatest things that holds people back is a clarity. It's like, well, for me, I was at one point, I was saying, I'm willing to do the work. I'm someone who's ready to put it in. I just want to know what the steps are. I want to be clear on what is the process to follow, and I will do what is required to make that happen. I just don't really know what the process is. So by exchanging the payment for the process, I had a plan that I can now follow and start to turn my calling into a career. And what I realized, the thing that stops so many people is they get stuck on the how. They want to know, how do I generate leads? How do I find the people that I'm seeking to serve? How do I package a premium program? How do I craft a high ticket offer? How do I create this website? How do I edit this video? And they get stuck on all this how. And I remember when I first started in my content creation journey, I was like, wow, I don't know how to build a website, so I went to go learn that. I didn't know how to edit videos, so I went to do that. I didn't know how to make slides, so I went to learn that. And it was exhausting, because what I soon realized is I don't like creating slides, I don't like editing videos, I don't like building websites. And the big breakthrough for me was that it's not the how, it's the who. And when you look for the who, when you find the who, they are able to help to produce the result that you're looking for. I don't build my own websites. I don't edit the videos. You see that this video now is very well edited. It's a live switcher. It's because I have someone on my team, and he's able to help switch this while I'm speaking. The slides that I have, I don't create those slides. These slides were built by my team. And I remember going through a book, Virtual Freedom. It was teaching how to build virtual assistants, and it was showing Chris Ducker. He was saying that he doesn't build his own slides. He has a designer create his slides, and he does these keynotes around the world. And I'm like, wait, you can do that? That's an option? I didn't know other people can help design your slides for you. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, I would love to have visuals that I don't have to pour over hours and hours and hours on these slides, because like, hey, maybe you enjoy creating slides. Maybe you like graphic design, but for me, I don't like graphic design. I like communicating with people, but I realized that having powerful visuals can be beneficial for people to communicate ideas. I'll give you another example. See, another reason why a mentor can help you bypass a learning curve is because a mentor can see in you often more than you see in yourself. I like this cat illustration because, see, the cat's looking at the puddle and he sees what? He sees a lion. Because a lot of times you're playing small. A lot of times fear prevents you from taking action and learning the marketing or applying the marketing principles. When it comes to health, you love talking about it. But when it comes to things that produce the wealth, when it comes to the marketing side, there might be some parts that you're missing. There might be some parts that you haven't prioritized figuring out yet. And the good news is you can outsource, you can cut a check to cut the line. You can essentially bypass much of the learning curve. You can cut it in half or more. You can master any skill in half the time with the right mentor. Because one of the greatest gifts that I give my students is I don't accept their limiting beliefs. I don't accept their scarcity stories. They say, well, I can't do this because I'm too old. I'm like, have you looked at Moses? Say, I can't do this because I'm too young. Have you looked at Jeremiah? That's what he said. But God was able to change nations through these two individuals. And what I realize is when you fight for your limitation, you get to keep them. So a good mentor is not going to fight for your limitation. A good mentor is going to fight for your liberation, your liberty, so that you can really reach the goals that you have to market your message to the masses. And that's one of the greatest gifts that I found. One of my early mentors told me he was telling me when I was first starting my online health food store, and I was just like, I had like 15 failed business attempts. This is my 16th attempt, and I'm like, man, what is the secret to building a successful business? And I was starting to, the knowledge of my past failures was starting to make me question if I'm really able to do this. Is this going to work? And what am I going to do? He's like, look, Enoch, I am so confident that you're able to succeed in this health education business that I have enough faith for you and me. You can borrow my faith. I will have faith for you. I was like, what? That's an option? And I've never heard anyone say that my entire life. I'm like, you're going to have faith for the both of us? And to have someone believe in me so much that even when I didn't believe in myself and my abilities was exactly what I needed. And I chose to borrow his faith. And I'm like, okay, I will borrow your faith because you believe I can, I will. And I went forward and I started to sell and I started to see people's lives changing. They were losing weight. They were improving their memory. They were overcoming their discouragement and despondency. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I started breaking all these sales records and then starting getting the attention of multimillionaires who wanted me to speak on their platforms and saying, what are you doing to grow your business so much? We're seeing rapid success. Tell our audience, how are you growing so quickly? And I realized that there's other health educators, other health coaches who want to know how to grow their business and what they're doing. And I started teaching. It kind of like pulled me into helping other health educators to grow their business online. And that's how it started. But some of you are here and you're like, I don't know if I could do the marketing stuff. I love health, but that business, that's challenging. But you can borrow my belief until you could build your belief. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that you're capable of building a high-income health expert business, that you can monetize your health knowledge online and impact lives that you cannot now imagine the level of impact that you can have. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that. So that's the power of a mentor. And I'll close with this story. I was, several years ago, when I was a teenager, I was hanging out with my friend, and we got the midnight munchies, and we were starting to get hungry, and we looked at each other, and we're like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And we both said, yeah, dollar bean and cheese burritos at Muchas Gracias. And it's our favorite Mexican restaurant. We're just like, all right, we're on a mission. We're going to go. And as we were walking down the street to this Mexican restaurant, there is a lane that is a 2-lane road. There's no sidewalk. It's very dark and dimly lit. I don't think there is a single street light on there. And there's gravel ditches on both sides. So it's really narrow. There's no place for us to walk except for in the street. One of us is on the street, one's on the gravel. And as we're walking down there, we're talking. Our senses are a little delayed because we were high, and I don't do that anymore. Neither do I recommend it. But when you're a teenager, sometimes you do dumb stuff. And while we were over there, I couldn't help but to notice that there was an ambulance that was speeding by, and it was going over the speed limit. Usually people go like 45 miles there, but this thing's going fast. It had no lights on, and it had no siren, and it was like a silhouette. I almost didn't really like see it, but I was kind of looking at that ambulance, and I looked at my friend, and I saw the distance closing, and my friend was standing right in the road, and I'm like, that ambulance is gonna hit him. And my friend didn't even know that it was there. It was silent as can be. And so last minute, I grabbed my friend's shoulder on his shirt, and I pulled him out of the road and into the ditch. And as he's sitting in the ditch, he's like, what was that all about? Like, what gives? What was that for? He's looking at me bewildered. And a few seconds later, boom, comes an ambulance exactly where he was standing. And his eyes got big, and he said, whoa, Enoch, you just saved my life. I'll buy your burrito tonight. And I was like, all right. And now you say, now what does that have to do with growing an online business and marketing my message? Well, the reason I share that is because a lot of times in business, it requires an outside perspective to be able to see the danger that is coming your way. And as I mentioned before, sometimes we don't see the pitfalls. We don't see the danger that we're about to go into. That could absolutely either be the difference of your business surviving or dying. And we don't know what we don't know, and that's the stuff that hurts us the most. People say ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. If there is a danger that you can avoid in your business by having the right mentor and outside eyes to be able to see what you don't see, then that could be the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And even knowing, like, the knowledge to not know how to make $10,000 a month in your business is costing at least $120,000 a year, or whatever the difference is. It's the cost of ignorance is one of the greatest expenses of our life. And just as my friend, I was able to help grab him and pull him to safety. And sometimes we don't understand because the advice sounds counterintuitive. But when we have a mentor, when we have someone who's able to show us the path, show us the way, it could save us from a world of hurt. And that's exactly why I wrote the book, High Income Health, the book on high ticket health coaching. This book is designed to help people to have that outside perspective. As I've been helping health educators to grow their business and to market their message online, this book contains it's packed full of lessons, valuable tips, biggest mistakes you can avoid. So you can avoid when there is danger that is hurling towards your business and you can see it from afar and avoid it. This book is going to reveal to you a lot of the principles that are responsible for many of the most successful health educators and health coaches that are of today. And it's going to pull back the curtain of what you can do to monetize your health knowledge online. So if you're interested in grabbing a copy of this book, then I want you to comment book in the chat below. And if you're ready to accelerate your learning curve for you to be able to bypass your marketing learning curve and you're ready for rapid growth, you're ready to get your message out, comment book below and I will send you information where you can grab a copy today. And today what we've been covering is exactly how to bypass that marketing learning curve, because why wait when there's a sense of urgency today? People are literally dying to know the knowledge that you can share. And by you getting your message to others, I believe the world would be a better place. So thank you so much for watching, friends. And remember that God doesn't call a qualified, He qualifies a called. Have a great day, friends, and God bless.